Good morning. Hello, everybody. I'm going to pause for a moment because often this doesn't start recording right away and isn't live. But I wanted to talk to you about something that's kind of interesting, a conversation that I got into today, and something that's popped up on Meetup recently as well. And that's your parts. As humans, we all have multiple parts inside us that show up at different times for different needs to serve different purposes. And the problem that people can run into is when those parts become in conflict with each other. It's literally like playing tug of war with yourself to move forward, to go for a new goal, to achieve something. And so just imagine for a moment that you're standing in your house or you're sitting on your couch or whatever your preference is, and someone knocks on the door, on your door. And you go to the door and you open the door, and it's a family member that you haven't seen in a long time, someone that you totally love, and you're excited to see them and you're happy to see them. What part of you is showing up there? What part of you is excited to see this person? There also may be a part of you that's relieved that it's not a telemarketer, relieved that it's not someone that you didn't want to see at the door. There may be a part of you that's a little bit stressed and overwhelmed. There may be a part of you that's a little bit disappointed. This is an example of the parts of us that show up at different times. And if you're someone who has children, this is an example that I often give. If you tell a child they can't have something, sometimes an entirely different child can show up in front of you. Their voice may sound different. Their body language may be different. The expression on their face may be totally different. This is an example of parts. And it's an important conversation to have, and it's one of my favorite things to work with clients on because it's realizing, like I said, there's this internal tug of war. When one part of you wants to apply for the promotion, one part of you wants to lose the weight, one part of you wants to quit smoking, but another part of you is like, "Ooh, but I'll lose out on fun. If I'm trying to lose weight, that means I'll have to restrict myself." It's often not a matter of either of these parts are wrong, it's just they have different intentions and different purposes. But when we can get the parts to recognize that at, like, a bigger picture perspective, both of them, all of them, are looking to serve you in some positive way. We can start to integrate the parts together, and then the tug of war often fades away. So if you're someone who's been frustrated because you're trying to achieve a goal or you're trying to do anything in your life and it just feels like there's this internal tug of war. I want to do it, but if you have a but, that could be a parts thing. That could be something that's pretty simple to work through and overcome, but we're often not told that. We're not given this experience to look at our minds and say, what's actually going on here? Why am I fighting myself? Why am I resisting what could be possible? And so, if this hits a note for you, if this lands for you, send me a DM. There's a meetup coming up in August where we are going to talk more about part of you wants this, part of you doesn't, what's going on and how to move through it. But this is also something that I work with clients one on one with. And I had two clients finish up in the last couple weeks. So I currently do have 3 spots available for new clients. So if this is something that you would like help with to shift away from the part of me wants this, but I can help you work through that. We don't have to fight ourselves. And many people, that's the thing, is that we can get in our own way in so many different ways, and it maybe just be a part of you that's looking to protect you, to keep you safe, to prevent you from disappointment, to prevent you from being hurt again. And allowing these parts to recognize each other and integrate and work together, it makes a really big change for some people. I will leave a comment here as well. I had one person put a review on my meetup and said, "This chick likes to talk about parts a lot. I'm not into that." And if this is not you, that's totally fine as well. But if you are in a place where you've been feeling like you're bumping up against a glass ceiling in terms of growth in your business, you're bumping up against resistance when you're trying to lose weight or you're trying to quit smoking, or stress is becoming too much for you, it's like, what if we could get the parts of you working together so that you could actually move towards that goal with less resistance? You could move towards your goals with less resistance? How would that change things for you? If that's something you'd like to learn more about, or you're interested in having a conversation, I'll put the link to book a free consultation in the chat. And the whole objective of these calls, you'll get a lot of value from them. The whole point is to help you see, like, where are the areas that you've been bumping up against resistance, or the areas that you've been finding challenging, and what's actually the pattern that's running underneath it. Because when we can understand the pattern and then start to work to resolve that, it's amazing the change that can happen. My name is Kate McDowell. I didn't say that at the beginning. I often don't. And yeah, I'd be more than happy to have a conversation with you. So grab the link in the chat or in the comments below if this is something you're interested in. Otherwise, come to the meetup tomorrow. The meetup tomorrow is going to be all about, what are we doing? Oh, self sabotage. Why you self sabotage when things start going well. What part of you doesn't feel safe there? I don't think tomorrow is all about parts, but it's a part of every conversation part of every conversation I have, because it's a really important thing to take a look at and focus on. So this is just a quick one for today. Thank you if you've watched. If you're not someone who identifies with the fact that there are a part of us, I mean, think about yourself. I heard an example from Mike Mindell this morning because he recently was talking about this. Some people call them parts, some call them ego states. But imagine you're in an apartment and there's, I guess it's not an apartment, it's like a bungalow. And there's like about 10 people living in this bungalow at the same time. That can represent all of your parts. The thing to consider is there's also some shadow parts. Those are the parts that live in the basement. They don't really want to be seen, but they show up when there's stress or when there's conflict in your life. And it's all of a sudden this part shows up and it's like, whoa, where did that come from? Behavior changes. Your responses to things change. Your body language can change. Your voice tone can change. I heard a story a while ago about a like 50-something-year-old man who would go out for dinner with his wife, and he ordered something that he liked, and they said, "Oh, we don't have that." And so they brought him fish instead. He hates fish. And his wife reflected back that when they brought him what he didn't want on his plate, it was like watching a 5-year-old child. Crossed his arms, got all upset, pouty, annoyed. That part of him may have been a shadow part that was hanging out and that hasn't been resolved, hasn't been addressed. So just an interesting story. But if this is something that you'd like to have a conversation about, grab the link in the comments below. And otherwise, just DM me if you have questions, or if you've been struggling with things in your life. If there's things that you want to do, but the but is often telling you a lot about you, about what's going on, about what your mind is trying to protect you from, and about ultimately how you can move forward and make things easier for yourself. So enjoy the rest of your day, and I will talk to you soon.